Today I fucked up by listening to my sleep app records with my new girlfriend. So I have been using sleep tracking app for a few years now. It records sounds during sleep, so I have some data about snoring, how deep the sleep was, etc. It records sounds for analytical purposes. Since I started dating this new girl, I wanted to convince her that I barely snore and overall I am a great person to sleep with. I played back a few sounds from previous nights, and there was this one sound that was really loud for snoring, and it was not followed by any exhale. I played it back once again, and once again. To my horror, I realized I was replaying the sound of a really loud and long fart. Not the best way to convince her she is for a great sleep with me. Too long didn't read. I was checking the sound records from my sleep tracker and replayed fart sounds to my new girlfriend. Edit. Many questions came up about the app. I use Sleep Cycle. Also, I am very aware that people fart, and during the sleep too. But in my 4-year history of listening to my snoring, it was the first time I heard my own farts. The biggest today I fucked up moment was playing the fart over and over again. My partner and I like to go through our sleep apps and listen to farts, and guess who ripped it? The other night it recorded one that was so nasty all you could hear was gasps and retching noises followed by curses and apologies. But today I fucked up. Since I started dating this new girl, I wanted to convince her that I barely snore and overall I am a great person to sleep with. Wow. The dating game has changed drastically since I last played. In my day, the best way to convince someone that I was a great person to sleep with was to down 6 WKDs in a row, do my best Christina Aguilera style dancing, and then chomp down a giant burger, getting grease and sauce in my cleavage. I had one of these apps running one night when I stayed at my partner's place. Checked it in the morning and it had recorded us getting down and dirty, and identified it as baby crying. Not sure what to think about that, TBH. Congrats, it's a precog app and y'all made a baby. The only time I hear my so fart is when she sleeps. It's super cute when she doesn't, scares herself awake. She has zero problem with my massive trumpet facts. Massive trumpet fact: despite its relatively small size, the average trumpet can have up to 6.5 feet of tubing. Might I suggest you export it and upload so we can hear this monster? Today I fucked up. I didn't put the dog out of the room and got cock blocked. Also experienced the frustration of sex after 40. Obligatory. This happened last night. So my wife and I are very busy people with different work schedules. We haven't had sex in over a month. Our youngest discovered party chat on the Xbox, so we lost the TV war. We headed to the bedroom to watch Hubie Halloween on Netflix. 5 out of 5 would recommend. The movie ends and she's searching for another. Should mention that we're both laid out in bed spooning. She comes back to bed and says it has to refresh. I ask, wanna make out while we wait? So we lock clips. A minute later I look back at the computer and it says timed out. I turned back to her and asked, you wanna do this? She replied, sure. I hop out of bed, locked the door, and grabbed the motion lotion on the way back to bed. Fuck up as stated above. So we're in bed, starting with the foreplay. I dabbed a little lube and started polishing her pearl. I'm hard, she's wet. I climb on top for some good old-fashioned missionary. As I position myself, the blankets slide off, revealing my wife's bow. Today I fucked up her voluptuous body and now I've got a rager. Just as I'm about to put it in, I feel something cold and wet push against my ass crack. A 10-month-old McNappy puppy hopped up on the bed. I slide her back and tried to grab some blanket to cover us, and she jumps back on the bed. This time she bolts for my wife's head. Now my wife is laughing, we were laughing. I go to my knees and she laughing so hard she pussy farts, and now I'm in tears, and this puppy is pouncing around us. We finally get our raucous puppy to calm down, and tried to get back the mood. I bust out in another bout of laughter and tears. I was laughing at the situation and crying because my hard-on is not coming back tonight. Sex after 40, use it or lose it. Too long didn't read, in the title. I have a similar experience with my cat. One day my GF and I had sex. While I was in her missionary, I started feeling something on my balls. It hurt. Every cat owner knows how rugged cat tongues are. My cat hopped on the bed and started licking my balls mid-sex. This is why pets are not allowed in my bedroom. My wife's cat is the exception, because he is a gentleman who will quietly exit the bed, and wait patiently out of eyesight while we do the deed. Out of your eyesight perhaps. Quietly plots your demise. Every dog-owning couple has experienced the unexpected threesome with the dog. What's worst is when you get a cold wet nose. That will stop shit real quick lol. I hear you, no pets. But 9 and 12-year-old. It's like prison sex. Gotta hurry up and do it before the guards make the rounds. Edit, missionary position impossible. Meanwhile my mom and her husband, my stepdad, amazing guy, love him to death, who got married 4 years ago, have perfected having independent kids/grandkids. My 18-year-old stepbro and my older sister and her 2 kids ages 3 and 7 live with my mom and stepdad, and silent sex. I've been over at their house and not realized they snuck off for some snoo until they reappear together in fresh clothes lol. Serious, please start locking your dog out of your bedroom. My terrier has completely ruined my sex life. He's 7, has always slept in my bedroom since I got him at 2. The last 6 months he's started participating in the pack activity and licks himself excessively while we're doing it. I can't. Sounds like sloppy oral next to me. I instantly get turned off and have spent weeks trying to train him to be out of the room. Heed my warning, get the dog out of the room. My dog will lay on the floor and sigh heavily to let us know she's upset with the interruption to her sleep. Today I fucked up by putting my son to bed efficiently. I have a 2-year-old. He's fairly well potty trained at this point, at least during the day. At night he's still wearing pull-ups. My wife has been awesome about making sure that we develop routines about things like waking up, cleaning up after ourselves and bedtime. And when I say we, I mean routines for both me and my son, because he's 2 and my ADHD is about as stereotypically bad as it comes. You can bet this all happened because I failed to follow the routine. So most nights the routine is as follows: an alarm goes off at 7 o'clock, he uses the potty and we get a bath going. After the bath it's time to brush teeth and put on the pull-ups and pajamas. Then he picks 2 books for me to read and then into bed. Well, today we were out for a late afternoon hike and came in smelling pretty bad, so at about 6:30 we get home and hop directly in the shower. After the shower I figured there was no point in putting him into new clothes, so we just had him hop into his PJs. Here's where the F up happened. In my infinite wisdom I decided that he didn't need a pull-up because we were gonna keep playing around for at least 30 minutes since we already saved so much time getting cleaned up, so I just put him in a regular pair of underwear. 7:15 rolls around, he uses the potty, brushes his teeth, and picks out our books to read and gets in bed. About an hour later, when he's normally passed out, we see, on the monitor, he's still rolling around trying to get comfortable. At this point I go in to see if I can get him to relax. As I open the door and walk over to his bed to adjust him, he turns his head to me and whispers, "Daddy, I had accident." My first thought is that I hadn't tightened up his water bottle enough and it had spilled a bit. That was until I went to move his blankets and saw/felt the giant wet spot on his bed and that half his PJs are soaked. Immediately I went and felt for his diaper, thinking it had leaked, and that's when I realized I had completely forgotten to put one on him. Since he was already in his PJs when we went to brush his teeth and read his book, my brain just skipped over the part where I made sure that his pull-up was on. I felt like such a terrible father, especially since the way he told me about wetting the bed made it seem like he felt he was responsible for his accident. My wife immediately swooped in and helped change his sheets while I got him cleaned up and into some dry jammies. At which time he kept saying "sorry daddy." Broke my heart. He slept well the rest of the night. TLDR, thought I was being efficient about putting my son to bed, ended up getting laundry done early. Edit, added a couple of words in. Edit 2. Good morning everyone. Wanted to say thanks for all the kindness this post has generated. There are tons of comments telling me not to stress too much about it, and I can assure you I'm not. While I did feel terrible in the moment, I know accidents happen and I did what a lot of you suggested in the moment and assures him that he did nothing wrong. I wrote the post shortly after the incident, so if I came off as being hard on myself, it was only because it had just happened and I still felt a bit bad. When you're the one that causes your kid any discomfort, no matter how minor or temporary, you feel bad. I think I'm doing a pretty okay job as a dad so far and know there'll be screw-ups along the way. Anyways, I'll try to reply to people as I have time throughout the day, especially to try and thank you for your kindness. Dad of 4 here. Don't beat yourself up too bad. We're all human and make mistakes. It guarantee you won't forget that again. As a parent you're going to have situations all time that you're completely unprepared for. Just do the best you can. That's the plan. I know my limitations, so I tend to go by the finger/toe count method of partner grading. If he goes to sleep with the same number of fingers/toes that he woke up with, plus or minus a few, then I'm doing a decent job. Reinforce to him that it wasn't his fault. Point out it was your mistake, and that's how everybody learns, by making mistakes. Even grown-ups make mistakes. You're not a bad father at all, we all forget things, even when it comes to your kids. I think you and your wife are off to a great start with your son, keep it going. You, sir, are an excellent father. You take your son on hikes, read bedtime stories, give baths, and a gazillion other things that weren't mentioned in this particular post. Your son loves you and is happy you are his daddy. First time dad here. My boy is 3 and I get it, nothing feels like a kick in the nuts more than a sweet apology for something that you did, but there are many dads that don't take the time to do all that stuff you do leading up to the accident, or that would have left their kid roll around and not went and checked. You're a great dad, dude, just keep it up. We had an accident just the other night and he has only ever had one other, and he's been in regular undies for almost a year, but that's because I make him go right before we get in bed, and something got me off track the other night and I didn't. It's all good, dude, that's why there's wipes and washing machines. I got a 2-year-old and potty training is not going well. His cousins were all late to adapt to potty as well, so I'm not too worried yet. I run a tight sheet game though, mattress protector, then sheet, then repeat and repeat. If an accident happens, pull the sheets off and go down to the next layer. Total game changer for us since his bed is a little tricky to get new sheets on.